Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Tony Talks, Get Up and Grow. I am your host, Tony Rodriguez, and on this show, we have conversations with inspirational leaders, influencers, and change makers, people that aren't just doing well in life, but they're also doing good in the world by giving back, by contributing back with their knowledge, their wisdom, their resources, whatever it is that they've got to offer. And today is Saturday, and Saturdays are the days that I bring on the one and only Brian Agoscu. Brian Bradley from Agoscu, and we're going to be discussing the 5 deadly sins of back pain. And if you know Brian, you love him. If you don't, you will. Here he is, the one and only, the Brian Bradley. What's up, brother?
I got dressed up today.
Me too, and we're matching. I should send you one of these shirts.
No, don't bother. I'm wearing Biggie Smalls' Life to Death.
Nice.
Biggie.
Nice. What's up, brother? How have you been?
I'm good, brother. Out here on the West Coast suffering. You know how bad it is, so we're good.
Well, I'm in New Jersey, so my wife is just freaking out because they just said that the cases are spiking again, and they're talking about possibly shutting down the state again. That would not be fun.
They've already done it a little bit out here, but I tell you, we went out to open up a bank account today, and for my kid, all this other stuff, changing banks, and what's weird is that all the banks are closing.
Yeah.
Like B of A is closed, multiple locations. And you start thinking to yourself, okay, the banks are closing. Let's see here. I have a safe in my house with weapons, just in case, because you don't want to put money in there without it. But
Right.
Just thinking to yourself, how safe is our money?
Yeah, well, hopefully we're not there yet, but and hopefully we won't get there. But things are okay outside of that. Listen, I've every time I take a day off, I mean, we were on the phone earlier, and I'm on the machine on an excavator moving rocks around. So whenever I take a day off, it's not a day off; it's actually a day on. But listen, taking the opportunity to get a lot of much needed work and a lot of different things done around here. Even though the world's pretty much opened up for a large part, not the way we knew it before, but it's not. Certainly, we're not in that shutdown anymore. At least not many businesses. But there's a lot of people that are still hurting, restaurants and everything else.
Yeah, and it's today was packed where we went over for the bank, and Jersey Mike's, GNC, all about bundt cakes. Literally lines out the door.
Yeah.
Masks and their social distancing. So, maybe people are starting to get that. Maybe wearing a mask, and it's just very simple. It's just put it on. I wear it snowboarding, so that's kind of how I look at it. I don't look at it as an intrusion in my life that the government is telling me what to do. I'd wear it snowboarding, and it's not that big of a deal. And then you just buy one, and you put it in your own logo in, and you just go, look, I'll just promote my business instead. How's that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's smart. Yeah, that's a good one. Promote your business on it. I like it.
Well, let's move on to out of that bullshit, and let's move on to what we were talking about. I pulled up, if you don't mind.
Sure. Take it.
Sorry, 2 different things that were just when I typed in, what causes upper back pain, what causes lower back pain. I'm going to read you a list of the top 7 reasons for middle and upper back pain. So, when it's titled like that, it's got to be the truth. So you're looking for cause and possibly solution when you look at this shit. We're not going off and going, tell me that I have a cavity and then don't do anything about it. Remember that commercial that was on TV? Oh, no. I'm just here to tell you what's wrong with your mouth and then walk away. So there's back pain is among the most prevalent conditions in the world. There are a number of common reasons for back pain. Number 1, what do you think it is?
Sitting too long.
Poor posture. Number 1 on the other article, which is 5 common causes of lower back pain. Guess what number 1 is?
Poor posture.
Poor posture. And I swear to God, dude, back in 1991 when I started with Pete, you never would have heard that posture is that big of a deal. It'd be like this. I guess it has something to do with it, maybe. And now it's hit the forefront, which is exactly what our mission was 20 years ago. We just said, Pete, look, there's not enough of you to go around. I know I'm loud. I love to talk. I actually get soothed by the sound of my own voice. And I might be the only one that gets that, but everybody else gets migraines. But we'll go over the top 5 reasons for migraines next week, and you will have one by the time I'm done. if we just look at this and say poor posture is number one, muscle strain, often caused by jarring movements, number two. Number three is nerve impingement, also known as a pinched nerve. Number four, osteoarthritis, breakdown, some kind of disc disease, things like that. Number five, bone disease, now disc disease, a condition. So that's the top five for low back. And then the upper back goes to posture and then lifting with your back. Now we're getting to some of the biomechanics.
Right.
Then wearing a weighty purse or bag, which it pertains to you for sure. And then number four is injuries or accidents, which is really the jarring motion. Number five, osteoporosis. Number six, kyphosis, which is the rounding of the upper back. And number seven, scoliosis.
Yeah, scoliosis is bad.
Yeah. You know what? I'd love to write something that basically just says the ultimate death sentence, scoliosis. Because people are going, oh no, my back is curved. When in reality, I dare you to find somebody who's walking around out there who isn't curved. Now, I will tell you around here in Southern California, and I said this before, there's nobody more functional than some of these landscapers I see. They're beasts. They are flat out beasts. That's all there is to it. So when we start thinking about this, why are they? Because they live in an environment where they're, and again, guys, this is any race. I don't give a shit what the race is. Any race that moves for a living can live pain-free. So if we decide to live in this great country, then we better start moving in order to be able to live pain-free. Now, moving doesn't mean, it is one thing I think that COVID-19 is really going to help out with. You don't have to drive to the gym to go to the gym to get functional, to get your own workout in. Now it's forcing you to do, like you excavating today, lifting those huge rocks, right? You needed to bring in the machine to do it. But I'm sure you tried on your own moving some other stuff, as long as your legs are underneath you and your hip is driving.
Right.
Your back doing all the work. So number one, guys, I told you guys this a zillion times. Posture rules. So number one, posture rules. But at the same time, there are posture rules. There are rules to put yourself into this position as quickly as possible and then get on the excavator. Then get out and dig some holes. Then go for a walk with your dog. Then really what it comes down to is one simple thing: balance the pelvis.
Mm. Well, actually, it's funny that you say that because Margie, that's on it, says she's got a pop. I need help. I have popped out my pelvis, my pelvic side on the left, and they have pain. She's got pain for a week, basically. Sorry, I don't have my glasses, so I was having a hard time reading that. I should have.
So you're telling me that
I do have my glasses.
Margie's been hurting for a week, and today's the first day we hear from her.
Well, she's waiting to see you on Tony Talks.
Look,
so, yeah. So
bottom line, guys, do not wait. The minute the accident happens, we could easily hop on a 5-minute Zoom if I'm available. I'm willing to take a look, because then I can give you a no BS answer from a postural standpoint, and also start asking you some questions whether you should be going to see your MD to make sure that this lower back pain, and listen, Margie, I'm not talking to you, but I'll tell you a story real quick, is there can be referred pain. My friend's dad had lung cancer showing up as back pain until I played golf with him one day, heard him breathing, and I said, hey, buddy, this I can help you with the back pain, but I think it's something much bigger. So yeah, we'll rule out the tumor and all that kind of stuff, which 99% of it will be ruled out that way. But when you blow out your back or you hurt your hip like this, you got to have some ways for you to try to get yourself out of this to make your other practitioner's job easier. So for example, I use this authentic art that I always draw in here, right? Like the Agosky method in the middle, and then you pick which one of those you want to go to. Mindfulness, yoga, CrossFit, chiropractic, PT, you name it, Egoscue can facilitate or help them help you.
Yeah. Well, she said that, yeah, I think it's to what you said, and you've said it before, that Egoscue doesn't take place of your doctor or your chiropractor, but it makes their life a lot easier when you do go to visit them. She did say that she goes to a chiropractor and they balance her pelvis, but she wants to prevent it from happening again. It's happened 3 times, once about 2 years ago, and so she wants to know. Actually, she just asked, how can she contact you? So you can just send them a message on Facebook.
Remember the Brian Bradley on Facebook, and you can message me there. And it's only under the, like I said before, I'm not a narcissistic prick online. It's because the other guy had it at the Tampa Bay Lightning. Damn him. But listen, Tony, these top 7, top 5 pitfalls of back pain are not what I listed before off of the internet. So don't go look for it. Get your pens and paper out and write this. Underneath posture being number 1 should be all 5, in my opinion.
Right.
What is your ankle doing? 1 foot versus the other. Are they collapsed on one side? Something like that. Can you bend over and touch your toes without reaching and hurting yourself? That's just a test. Are you bending from your back, or are you bending from your pelvis and hinging down? Dehydration. Flat out dehydration should be listed number 1. And if you don't think you're absorbing your water, like you drink a gallon of water a day and all you're doing is peeing, or drinking half a gallon, it's even worse then. Yeah, you're not absorbing, guys. So you got to get your mineral ratio right for your body. That comes down to supplementation, different foods. Chew your food to liquid, so you actually break down a piece of red meat before you swallow it. Break it down 35% in your mouth. And then your gut will thank you later.
That's a good tip. A lot of people don't think about that, just the way you chew your food, because the digestive process starts in your mouth, right? Instead of just biting it and swallowing it. It's important to start that process there for sure.
Well, why not just enjoy it? Why not look at it from the standpoint of, I really like my food. I have a relationship with my food. Like last night I was having turkey, and I actually had it for lunch too, which is so damn good.
What was it?
So I had Iranian food in the afternoon, and then I had a mixture between Iran and Iraq for dinner from 2 of the restaurants down here, because I'm a huge fan of supporting these businesses. So you go in and spend $40, $50. They get something out of this. You don't want your favorite food places to close. And you can always bring the food home, eat outside, whatever you have to do. But you chew your food to liquid before swallowing it to cause the breakdown in your mouth to make it easier as it hits your stomach. It'll be a massive change. Plus, you'll eat less because you'll put the fork down in between bites. But let's go back. Water is number 1. 70% of your body needs water to survive. Don't get me wrong, the whole body does. But if somebody said 70% of your body is made of water, that's what they're talking about. It's not like you're a walking swimming pool. It's your muscle tissue requires it. Your blood volume requires it. So your lymph system is absolutely tied to this kind of stuff. So we've got to get your pelvis balanced by doing the exercises. We got to get you drinking water, and we got to get you out of the mindset that my back is a problem. Your back is always a symptom of noxious movement. Unless it's referral pain from, like I said with my friends, lung cancer, something like that, which is so rare. So don't panic at first. I get it.
Yeah, it's scary, right? It's scary. I mean, back pain is something that I've dealt with on my whole life, but between the car accident and this fall and that one and ski injury and that, there's always something. But again, the Egoscues help. Listen, that static back, I say it all the time. The static back is one of my best friends.
I'm going to go to something here on my phone, so give me a second. Play elevator music, or maybe you can talk. I don't know.
So, for those of you who are not familiar with the Egoscue method, hopefully you are. That's why you're watching. But it's just really about activating, by getting balanced and activating your psoas muscle, which is the thing that the muscle between I guess it's inside, right? Between your pelvis and your lower back, or kind of connecting everything. And many times we don't activate that and we're not using our muscles properly. So when we do that, our hips are off balance. When our hips are off balance, it throws off our knees, it throws off our ankles, throws off our shoulders. And your body then adapts to it. So you contort and you favor one thing to the other. So Brian is really about getting you and me and everyone aligned properly and having the right muscles doing the work so that you can live pain-free, because you can actually live pain-free by doing simple exercises that and stretches. It's not really stretches, simple exercises that are going to activate the muscles, that are going to have the right muscles firing at the right time to keep you out of pain.
And look, Tony, go into Amazon today if you had problems. You said, I can't see Brian. Go get the pain-free book on Amazon.
Yeah.
And just have it delivered with Amazon Prime. Start reading the first 3 chapters. And if you don't know something, then hit me back. Just be like, you know what, I'm going to contact Brian on Messenger and let me ask a question. There's no such thing as a dumb question. There is a such thing as dumb people. Meaning the ones that don't ask the question. Ask the effing question.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I don't know if you got me in a good mood or bad mood today, but it's one of those things I'm looking at it, I'm going, we know the answer is right in front of us, but we convolute it with so much BS because we panic. Instead of saying, could I get something out of this by just going, okay, Brian said, which wasn't Brian's idea. You can pull it up off the internet. Everything on the internet is true. But at least drink half your body weight in ounces in water.
That's right.
If I weigh 200 pounds and then you drink 100 ounces of water, that's a good thing. If you weigh, you might weigh 200 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal, then you drink 100 ounces of water to help you.
Yeah, I think that's so important. So many times I tell people all the time that if you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So you should be drinking throughout the day, even when you're not thirsty. And if you live in the summertime, when you're exerting more, you're sweating more, you're out in the heat, your body needs more than 100 ounces in the summertime.
100%. And right now in the heat index in Arizona, my friend called me, it's like 127 degrees, that it's always heating up, but it's a dry heat. In California right now, we're probably 85 right now, 80 to 85 outside, plus another 10 for the sun. So we're close to 95. I mean, it's warm.
Yeah.
So my house is all boarded up like it's going to have a hurricane till about 6 p.m. Then I open it up and everything blows through, but I'm not having to run my air conditioning all day and live in that kind of stuff. So look, a lot of times people will talk about sitting as a bad thing, like you're sitting too much. I'm sitting literally, I want to sit comfortably. I'm going to put my feet up on my love seat over here and finish the talk like this. But the interesting thing is, how come I don't have the problems with my back at 52 when I did bounce off a tree at 60 miles an hour and go down a 400-foot ravine and cartwheel down on a bicycle and racing downhill, and stuff happens because it opened up a mindset that's, well, because of the accident, now I have to do something to keep my body from hurting in the future. That was my motivation. I used that accident as a gift. So Margie is looking at this going, I go to see the chiropractor, my pelvis is always out. But why not do something that it's, at least a very simple set of exercises to get you as functional as possible? Like I have this friend who I've known since I started with the Egoscue named Andy. And Andy actually he actually got me the job with Egoscue. It's when he was there, he was the director of the clinic, and somehow I smooth talked his butt to give me the job. I don't know how I did it. I tried flirting with him a little bit. That didn't work. All kinds of stuff. But he's a physical therapist, a very good one. And he's implemented, this kind of stuff in with his patients that he has at his hospital or his orthopedic place. That's a very smart PT. Don't get me wrong. All PTs, physical therapists, are smart. Okay, I'm the dumb one in the room. But just because you went to school for 3, 4, 7 years does not mean you are practical smart.
Right.
You have got to find a PT like Andy and keep them. Like, do not let them move. I don't care if you have to pay their house off, keep them around, kidnap their children. No, I'm kidding about that. That's not even fun. But it's you want to have people around you, like Margie might have this chiropractor that she trusts, who does great work. So ideally, I would like to, like your wife being a nurse and a first responder, those guys need to be, look, thank you for doing what you do, you healthcare workers. But I promise you, if you get your customer, what you call patient, to do a little bit themselves, it's like being a dentist and requiring your customer to use a Sonicare.
Yeah.
And by the way, this entire segment was brought to you by Sonicare, Philips Sonicare. So thank you, and go get a Sonicare. Now you need to send this in and get paid for it.
Actually, I think my kids have those. I had one at one point. I just used a regular manual one, old school.
No, listen, no big deal. We all can tell. Okay, so let's move on.
That's funny. So we're up to number one is
hydration. Number 2, your posture is very important, but you don't try to stand up straight, because all you'll do is lift your chest up, and then ultimately you're literally doing a back bend onto your lower back. So underneath number 2, you better wake up and find that muscle right there. You better find what this muscle ultimately does. Where am I going? Right there.
That's that psoas muscle.
Dude, it is a game changer. It's the on switch for all movement. It's the on switch for what you call your core training. Now, is it involved in the core? Yeah, okay, but so is my bicep. Why? Because my bicep attaches to my shoulder blade. So whatever you do with your bicep affects your shoulder blade, which affects your serratus, your external oblique, and all of these other muscles we don't expect you to know. But everybody in the medical field knows. And when they disengage the body and say your ankle is because of your ankle, or your shoulder is because of your shoulder, or because your wrist is because of your wrist, it's not. Your medial elbow pain throwing a ball is because your pelvis is not the root rotator to create your arm whip. I mean, that's simple biomechanics. But to the layman out there who's going, okay, Brian, I don't play pro baseball like some of your athletes do. Okay, no big deal. Let's get you to a place where you can turn on that psoas muscle. Okay, well, how do I do that? Well, it's not a hip flexor. So it's like, well, you don't sit there and lift your leg up like this. But you remember the arm circle exercise that we do? Yep. Dude, why do you think I take your feet 5 degrees turned in? About 5 degrees. Because it's really the forefoot that looks turned in. But really the true ankle joint is straight. So 5 degrees looking in is really straight. And then because of where that muscle attaches all the way up here on this bone, that's the leg bone.
Right.
Okay. That is key to changing everything. Because once you get your feet straight and then create the perturbance up here, now you have the pelvis that has to react based on the femur head that rotated into a different position. Bottom line, put your hand like this. Put your other hand like this. This is your femur coming up from the leg, and this is your pelvis, acetabulum, and that's where this fits together like that. Like a car pulling into the garage. Last time I checked, we don't park our car sideways in the garage. So the position of your leg has everything to do with how functional your pelvis is.
And that's why you have us turn in 5 degrees.
100%. So never do your exercises without your feet straight, unless instructed by somebody who truly gets it. Like if they want you to do like sumo squats for something, I get it. But you do your exercises first, and then no matter what exercise you're doing, you have no issues with it.
That's awesome. All right, so that's number 2. What's number 3?
Sitting is a sport, and you better train for it.
Yeah.
And look, I have a standing desk. I could hit it, take it up to 115 degrees straight up. We could finish outstanding, no problem. Well, we're going to finish outstanding because we're just outstanding. But I mean, we could finish this out by standing.
Right.
But I never go from here. I never, ever, ever go from sitting like this to a stationary bike like this.
Mm.
And you and I were talking earlier about like biohacking. Whoa, my phone fell. About biohacking. Okay, that bike looks like a Peloton, just like every other bike, blah, blah, blah. But it's one of my favorite biohacking bikes on the planet. And why would I get on this thing from a position like this all day and then just invert myself and get on it like this and try to increase my power? Good luck. Oh, you'll increase your power by holding onto the handlebars and pulling more versus driving at the leg.
Hmm.
You can't drive at the leg to create leg power. Okay, now that's everybody who's into sprints or into weightlifting are going to go, okay, wait, what? To get on that bike and just yank on the bike like this should be leverage to allow you to crank harder into the pedal or faster into the pedal. Not let's pull on it so hard that it becomes the revolution creator.
Right.
Now, I went to a school back in Pennsylvania I went to Pitt first, and then I realized that no way am I going into pharmacy school. Actually, you have to have good grades, and that wasn't happening. So I went to a school. I transferred to a school called IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Now, amazing, because what I learned back there, going through athletic training and exercise science stuff, you look at that kind of stuff and say, if I would have known then what I know now, I could have actually learned something. And it wasn't the teacher's fault, it was mine, my ADHD and all that BS. But I would have asked questions like, I actually had a physical therapist teaching a class in there, and he said, we have found that people with hair on their lower back have more back pain. Now, what the? I mean, Tony, you would be dead by now, looking like Magilla Gorilla. You know what I mean? Like, with that beard, I can't even imagine what your lower back looks like.
Actually, I'm not. I do not have a hairy back, thank God. I have some friends that they lose it up top, and it's like it falls and takes root on the back.
On the way down.
Yeah.
That's what's happening to me here, and then it falls right to here and turns gray. But
yeah, well, we're not even going to talk about that. But this is, probably another week or two, I'm going to have a different look. We'll see.
I like it. The guy said to the class, we found that lower back pain is a cause from, too much hair. And it never made sense, but when you start thinking about having something like hairy lower back pain, that's a tough diagnosis in the PT realm. So I look at this from the standpoint of we gotta be done guessing. You have to finish guessing and say, if we can just accept that this is the blueprint for how the human body should look, move, sit, stand, poop, cook food, sit at a hibachi, go to a movie theater, you name it. If your body's out of this alignment, you're in trouble.
And the reality of it is we need to take care of our bodies, right? Our bodies are your body's your temple, and you've got to take care of it because you only get one, right? So many times we take it for granted. We give it things that we shouldn't to consume. We beat the hell out of it because we decide to do whatever it is. So we need to take care of ourselves a lot better. That's for sure.
Well, I will tell you, it's when you say it that way, everybody needs to close their eyes and say this: do I have more room for something else on my plate? No, you don't. We don't have any. I don't have more time.
None of us do. It's a great equalizer.
Even during COVID-19, not COVID. So every time I cough, I have to yell that. So when you look at this stuff, why not think of it as, if I want next level performance, if I want next level to live pain-free, to move in my 50s, going on 60s, going on 70s, going on 80s, going on 30s, then you better give your body the best chance with back pain, which I will tell you when you say, okay, well, what's number 4? How about past injuries? People that have had if anybody's out there that's had a sprained ankle, raise your hand, right? If you've ever sprained your ankle just once, 10 times, whatever, working with the NBA like we've done before, somebody like Charles Smith. He ran the NBA Players Association, and he's now retired from that, but he does a lot of stuff with the NBA and coaching kids and financially getting them to move and working for a big networking company. But you want to talk about a guy that realizes that he's got to take care of himself now that he's older and 6'10" or whatever his size is. That's not easy when the rest of the world's down here. So you better be doing something about it, which means my sprained ankle could be caused from my hip shutting down neurologically because my body sprained the ankle, and then the body says, well, let's just shut the hip down to protect the ankle. The ankle heals, but the body never actually opens the road of patterning to the central nervous system again. So those of you, I just saw a question on here for like Achilles tendon injuries. I think it's amazing when somebody says, I have an Achilles tendon injury, but they never ask why. They say, well, I'm a runner. I say, that's awesome. I'm glad somebody runs. The only running I do is if I can get some free food somewhere, which really put on my COVID-19.
Yeah, I like to say that if I'm running, you should run too, because something's chasing me, right?
Yeah, but just don't run faster than I'm running. So when you look at running, why don't we ask this question? Did the Achilles tendon injury happen to both sides? No. Outside Magazine just wrote an article, whether it was online or in the magazine itself, about a guy that just said, I was running, and pop, there went my calf. How did you blow your calf out? How did you blow your calf out when, in reality, if it's a bilateral sport, why wouldn't you blow both of them out?
It's a good question.
You always ask why it happens to one side. Always. You know, I had a hernia operation squatting back in college. So I'm coming down, coming up, and I go, and I racked it, and I pushed in against my inguinal area, and I went, and it goes, and like a little baseball came out. I'm like, it's probably not good when my intestine's trying to break through there. Yeah, that's not good.
No.
Surgical intervention, felt better. Okay? I just have a question. Why did I get the hernia when I was squatting 465 with both legs? And the answer is, I know what the answer is, but I want you to think about that. Why, if I'm squatting heavy weight, could be 200 pounds, and I came up and I gave myself an inguinal hernia? What's the reason? Here's what I would tell my therapist. Don't give me this genetic bullshit answer. Oh, you never know. You might have had a weakness. Great. This is guessing now. Let's start thinking let's ask a more important question. Why did it happen unilaterally? Why did it happen to one side? Now let's trace back a history. What about, I did break my leg in 9th grade. A guy slid into me at second base, snapped my fibula, but of course I got him out because that's what I do. I win. And so, as you saw with Master Co, I'm calling you out, Master Co. I'm calling you out. So
that was good. I got to tell you, you've got skills, Brian. I didn't know. I don't know. I didn't know. Table tennis. He played against Master Co, and he took Master Co.
Let's be honest. Chicks dig ping pong. I mean, honestly. No, they don't. It's like Nerd Central, which I love. But if you start thinking about why this person, me, I would say, okay, I got a left side hernia. Now I can look back at this and say, maybe the breaking of my left leg in a cast for 12 weeks, no PT after that, because this was the late 70s, early 80s, when it wasn't like, oh, I don't need PT. You know, I'm too young. I'll go out and just play, do whatever. But it slowed me down in my 40. I know when I was playing safety in football, if you threw the ball over my right shoulder and I had to push off my left leg, I was always about 10 minutes late. And my dad he was a football coach. What are you doing? And if I had any brains back then, I would step to the right and shut down that whole lane to give myself an advantage that I got to push off my right leg to go left. Or I could solve the problem and do the muscle work to create the neurological response because of the bony change.
Yeah, more often than not, you know what it is that you've got to do. But when you're in that, when you're having that injury, you don't know that. That's why I think, listen, that's why I think it's important to have for us to come on every Saturday and share some of this information, because while the information is readily available, if you look for it, most people just don't. Most people don't even know where to look. They don't even know what to look for.
So let me ask you a question. Did you have a question on there? Like somebody typed in a pretty long question. I didn't see it.
That was Lee, but she said no on her right foot. Came after a 9-day cycling charity ride from clipping in and out. I clip out on my left foot first, so my right foot stays in the pedal longer and turns with the bike. And you get it? I know exactly where my injury came from. So I guess when she came out, she spun. She comes out and the one leg spins out.
Yep. And look, getting out of those clips, you have to go click, click. You have to go click, lift. And I used to race, like I said, the downhill. I went to the skateboard shoes into the slip-in pedals because being clipped in, I was okay at it, right? I wasn't pro at it, but nobody talked more smack than I did, of course. But it was a ability to ride the bike and whenever I would kind of turn that foot to turn it out on the old one, I feel like, man, I have to hurry up and put that foot out. I might be stuck in this.
Yeah.
Which is loosening it up like a ski boot or something. Think about it from the standpoint of her Achilles tendon injury from the bike. There's nothing you can do as it relates to a practitioner to stop that mechanism from happening if the world hits you like that. Hit by a car, my pedal was too tight, so I went like this and I snapped it. But in my opinion, and anybody who's in the functional world says, A, loosen up the pedal grip, that kind of stuff. But B, when you're stuck in a position like this, biking all day, you might want to get on the bike in this position with your spine versus this position with your spine, when that's the position you've been taking from sitting all day long in the first place.
Oh, yeah, it's a good point. Awesome.
I can't stress enough that if you want to try to solve these kind of problems, look, do I believe that Agastya could solve, and create world peace? I really do. But not everybody is around an Agastya practitioner. But you better find a good healthcare group to have around you. Because as the healthcare world fails, and it's going down like this in a lot of ways, you better find people who love their work and they're artists. Find the right dentist. Find someone who is a very good dentist, who understands everything and just doesn't say, there's a cavity, let's do this. And then doesn't educate you on nutrition and brushing and flossing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, people take a lot of things for granted. I think lately, I'd like to believe that things are starting to change on that front as well, but we'll see. So what is number 4 of the 5 dents?
Yeah, we went over number 4. That was the
number 5. Sorry. Well, remind us all, number 4.
So we went over dehydration. We went over sitting as a sport. We went over posture as it relates to your skeleton. We went over past injuries. And then remember, when we went to the phone and looked up causes of back pain, nobody really came up with a cause. It was more like, we think posture is number 1. At least it's number 1 on both lists. Nobody tells you how to fix it. So I think a lack of functional living, I could put it number 5. Now, what does that mean? If you guys ever know, Tony at GetUpNGrow, his house is functional living. He has ducks in the backyard. He keeps his own bees. He goes for the walk in the morning and shows you the sunrises and sunsets in the water, all that kind of stuff. Well, sorry, bro, but I live in Southern California and land is a scarcity out here, right? So the most land I have around my house, I forced myself to do my own landscaping. A, because my landscaper was horrible, and it literally horrible. Everything was dying, but I was still writing the check, so I just did it myself. It's actually very soothing to get out there. I put in my own grass, wasn't sod. We actually did the ground and did all this, got my own blisters, all that stuff. And then sprinkler systems and all that, and getting my bushes to be perfect, like a high and tight Marine Corps haircut. Like I can't stand when I see this kind of stuff, except with my own hair. I don't care about that. But on the bushes, they got to be like this. And, taking pride in some of that kind of stuff. Get outside, do some of your own things.
Yeah, love it. Love it. So important to just get out and get in nature or not, but just get out and be active. Activity is the cure to so much. The cure to aging, or actually getting old. I say it all the time. Getting old is great. Aging sucks, right?
What do you do? What do you get out of doing your own stuff around your house?
Well, I get the satisfaction of getting it done and doing it right, and I get to. I like to see it done once it's done.
Well, you called me today and you had your son there. What did that do for you?
Well, I keep them out. I have them go out there so that they can learn some of the things. I mean, I operate machinery. I do a lot of different things, and I just share that information, share the knowledge wherever I can, and just so I try to instill some common sense where if you're whatever it is that you're doing, there's so many things that really you've got to think through the best way of doing things instead of, and sometimes I see, I ask for something and it's backwards. I'm like, just trying to understand and navigate that and show them the better way, show them how to do things.
Okay. But I think you got to stop bullshitting me a little bit. Think about, and guys, I've known Tony a long time, so we can say that to each other. What did it do to be able to hang out with your kid and excavate your backyard, and he gets to watch you do things, you get to teach him to do things, he could teach you something? What did that do?
It's connection. You're spending time, you're connecting with family, you're connecting, it's spending time with the people that you love or with people you like.
It's so true, dude. That's why, when we play paintball and stuff like that, I won't play with people that I don't know. And I always only play with my family members, friends, stuff like that. So when I shoot them and win, because that's what I do, I win. It does bring you closer together when you're in your garage, you take off your shirt and they go, oh my God. And I have 13 welts up my back looking like an old moldy piece of Swiss cheese. And they go, and, but it's a fun game to play, right? But it is one of those things, you're building those strong memories of your kid wanting to come back when he goes away to school, wanting to come back home because that's what's familiar, that's what he knows. So I commend what you're doing, dude, especially growing up back there. And when I grew up back east, there's a lot of things like motorcycling and, motorcycling out here in Southern California is like how many jumps can you take at once? Stuff like that'll kill you. Versus back east when we used to go, we back the YZ250 out of the back of the yard and we just go into the trees and ride for 45 minutes and then have lunch.
Yeah.
It was more like that cross, terrain stuff, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's you got to create environment. You got to create movement. So we're not just here to tell you, here's top 7 reasons for back pain, as we read earlier from the internet. We're trying to give you solutions. Just very simply, drink your water. Very simply, get your feet straight, just width apart at the toes, 5 degrees turned in, whenever you do any of the standing Egoscue exercises. Whether you're doing the arm circles or the elbow curls or anything like that, it's a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and we were talking about this before. We're fresh off the UPW that happened last week, which was amazing, and you did a great job as you always do, just as you did in that comeback challenge, and the exercises that you share and that we do, and that keeps you engaged, keeps your energy right. It's so important. It's so important to stay engaged. It's so important to listen. We don't have energy. We're not a battery. We create energy. We're a power plant, right? So it all energy and emotion comes from motion, right? So you've got to move. You've got to, and really, it's the proper motion, which is what Egoscue is about. So
that's a key point, and then we'll get you off here. Is there anything as such? Is there a such thing as bad movement? Now, really think about that. Is there a such thing as bad movement?
I don't know that there's movement is good. Movement is always good, but there could be better ways of performing a task or for doing something for sure.
Great. Hey, Tony, you're going to lift a 100-pound rock. What are you using your back for? Use your legs. Makes sense, right?
Use your legs, absolutely.
But what if you can't? What if you were like who we had on here before, Margie, and she said, my pelvis is always out. So whenever she bends over, she goes, I'm going to use my legs. So she bends down, reaches a certain point, and then leans forward, picks it up with her back for the first 10 or 15 degrees, creates those shear forces in her lower back. I mean, you might as well not even think about using your legs. So the way out of this is there's no such thing as bad movement. There's the wrong alignment taken to that movement.
Well, where can people go to get some examples of exercises? Could they just still go to the Egoscue.digital?
Go to your library and you can get the book for free out of your library. You can photocopy some stuff out of it. And if anybody gives you a hard time, just tell them the slicked back guy who used to have hair in the book told you it was okay. But if you read the first 3 chapters, you're at least showing some initiative to take care of yourself. Secondly, you can go to egoscue.com, so EGOSCUE.com, and you can get your exercises, or at least email us and say, hey, I'd like to know more. I was on this Facebook. And I know that the UPW, anybody who was on there, you guys broke my servers. I think we had 11,000 people sign up for something. And that won't happen again.
That was amazing.
Dude, my servers now are so freaking turbocharged. It's unbelievable. I dare you to try to break it during this.
And and of course, as I'm in the room and people are trying to register and people are saying it's down. I'm texting Brian. I'm like, dude, you offer something for free. What'd you think was going to happen?
Listen, and I'm already in. People are like, it was free, and I'm like, okay, look, the value add was free. The stuff that I'm going to get Pete Egoscue to shoot, things like that. But come on, I run a business. 10,000 people coming in, that's going to crush me. So when you look at this kind of stuff, think of it as like if you went to UPW, egoscue.com/UPW virtual, for those of you that were there, you'll get a form. You can upload your photographs there. Let us take a look at your photographs, type your little story on goals that you want to do here, and I'll send you out a set of exercises that is specific for you.
Yeah.
And then 10 days later, we're going to see you on Zoom.
Which is absolutely amazing. It's like I said, I can't say enough about Egoscue and how it's helped me in my life and my wife and anybody else that I bring into the system. So again, this is why Brian comes on with me every Saturday to share this, because I believe in it. I'm a believer in it, and it's helped me, and I know that it's real. And I like to say this like magic, because you do these exercises, the pain goes away. It's not magic, but it certainly feels like it when that pain goes away that you've been dealing with for 6 months or a year or 2 years or 5 years. So it's so important to take care of yourself. And one of the things I say all the time is that, when you don't take care of yourself, everybody around you suffers. You're not the only one suffering, because if you're in pain, inevitably your response to your kids, to your spouse, to your friends, to your clients is going to be different, because you're tweaked, you're in pain. So there's nothing like being free from pain. And it's going to help your business, it's going to help your relationships, it helps everything. So absolutely check out egoscue.com and follow this guy. Not the Brian Bradley.
And look, for those of you that are new, I only chose the Brian Bradley because the other Brian Bradley plays hockey for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he's just a prick. He wouldn't sell it to me. So he's a good dude. He's a good dude.
You have to be the Brian Bradley, which is fine. But whatever you do, don't call him the Brian Bradley, because he's not.
Exactly.
It's got to be
the other. Well, listen, bro, I really appreciate you doing this, because there's a lot of people who are in chronic pain and they need a way out. And I don't want to make it sound like they don't have something serious, but 99%, it's usually not that serious. If they could just do something themselves to make their other healthcare professionals' job much healthier, much easier, just do a little bit on your end, it makes a massive difference.
Absolutely. Listen, it's something that I do. I don't do the whole menu every day. I probably should, but I do 2 or 3 exercises a day at least. Before bed or in the morning or something. I'm always doing something to because you're in my head, which is good.
Hold on, I got to make the sign of the cross, because if you're going to confess here, I got to act as the priest and then tell you, pay the $5 on the way out, and you need to do 5 Hail Marys and a couple acts of contritions. But in regards to the religious joking around, very serious. Tomorrow, it's fun. We're going to do we're doing I think a 30 or 45 day walk to Israel. Yeah. So this company called Olami, Olami. You'll see them on my feeds on Instagram, stuff like that. They got a hold of me after the 7-day challenge and said, we got to get this heathen to come over here and help the Jewish world out. So I don't know how I got in, but I don't know. But it's going to be a massive thing because they're doing a long walk around their neighborhoods for so many weeks. That's going to be the equivalent of walking to Israel, and to get more spiritually bound for their faith. And for me, we did Mazel Tov at my wedding because my best man is Jewish, and always been a big fan. And to me, it's just, can we just stop the BS? Let's just get closer, right? So we may have our differences in who we think the savior of the world is, that kind of stuff, or whether he was just a carpenter or whatever it might be. But that doesn't mean we don't have to be dicks to each other. It's just bottom line. That's the truth.
Listen,
so
be respectful of everybody, respectful of what everybody thinks. And it's good. You do your thing. Let everybody else do theirs.
100%.
So awesome. Well, listen, Brian, I know that we're approaching the top of the hour, and I want to be respectful of your time, brother, and everybody else that's here. So some wise words. Well, you've been giving wise words. Well, question, how many miles is it that people have to walk every day for how long are they doing it? 45 days?
I don't know. Ask the Jews.
I don't know.
You're asking the Catholic how far to walk to.
What does that represent? Well, how long is the walk to Fatima? How about that? There you go.
I don't know what that is.
You bad Catholic.
It is too. It is too.
Listen, I know it's in Portugal, and I know so it's not far from where I'm from in Portugal. So it's a pilgrimage. So listen. With that said, again thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you sharing what you share and how you share it, and just appreciate your friendship. And everybody that's on here, thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for your questions. And if you're watching the replay, ask your questions. We'll get them answered anyway. And if this video resonates, share it with someone. If you know somebody that's in pain, we're here every Saturday. Join us, and there's always something to learn. And Liba says it's 6,000 miles from New York to Israel. That much she does know. All right, well, don't start walking to Israel from the beaches of New Jersey or New York.
Yeah, but it's worse. From San Diego, add another 3,500 miles.
Yikes!
Now you know why you're benefiting by living in Jersey, other than your taxes.
Yeah, right. Listen, I think the only ones that we're in competition, and our governor already said he's going to be raising them again. So yay!
Well, you say welcome to Florida.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, welcome to Puerto Rico, as so many of my friends have moved over there. So thank you again. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And remember, my friends, that life is not about how many times you fall. It's about getting up after every fall. And it's in falling down that you learn, and getting up that you grow. And every single time you fall, you have an opportunity to get up and grow. And remember, if you fall, do some Nagoscu, and you'll feel better right away. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys on Monday for Marketing Mondays with Scott Martin. Brother,
Scott's the man.
Scott is the man. Scott is the man. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Ciao for now. Have a great weekend.